Hello and welcome. My name is Frankie Bernard. I'm a certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and I have prepared for you a 3-hour self-paced training to help you prepare yourself and your support material toward your own CI certification. Now, this introduction might be slightly longer than the average trailer, let's put it this way, but I just wanted to make sure you were comfortable in acquiring this toolkit. So this training is first and foremost for people who are going toward a greenbelt, greenbelt advanced, or black belt certification, or if you're somebody who's coaching someone who is. Obviously, I'm assuming that people will have gone through their training, as I'm not going through the detail of the concept, and that you will have or already in progress on a CI project, whichever methodology is used. Practically, the first part will talk about what is a certification process and the typical standards and requirement. And then we'll go into the principle of how to create a great presentation covering structure, content, format, and actual delivery so that you can handle the actual presentation, the Q&A session, and then toward the end, we'll also talk about exam. I know there's not always an exam, but many people are a bit anxious about it, as it would be expected. Practically, I'm quite of the friendly professional type. I hope you would be enjoying this presentation and that I will be able to add value to you because ultimately that's why I'm doing this. I've been there myself. And as I said, I started on the green belt in 2000. Then I started training and coaching in 2002, and I've really haven't looked back since then. This pack is not going to do the work for you, but it will guide you through and give you something practical and manageable so that you can achieve the certification based on all the good work that you've done. And hopefully you can then become the role model that you probably aspire to be, because if you're on this career path, you're the kind who gets their hand dirty, so to speak. So what is included in the training? As I say, a lot of best practices on how to prepare yourself and your material. There's also practically 3 companion files. The first is the PDF of the slide so that people who have more of a read-write type of learning style rather than visual or auditory, which obviously this sort of training is very much targeted at, can find a good basis to retain and refer to. Practically also, there is 2 files, one Excel and one PowerPoint, to provide you with templates. I would encourage you to use the Excel file to do the work. And then when you're happy with a particular tool and it's completed, then obviously paste it into your presentation. The storyboard there is literally just a sounding board to give you a feel for what it could look like and how to organize it. I use it actively during the training to show you what to include, what is important, what might be more optional, and flex obviously depending on whether you're green belt advanced, or black belt. As you probably gathered, I'm trying to make this really as relevant for as many people as possible. And having gone through the CI training across a range of region, organization, companies, function, I appreciate different people will be familiar with different terminology. So I hope this won't come as a barrier. What I really wanted to highlight is how complementary they are, and the fact that about 80% of the basic tools are common across the traditional Lean versus traditional Six Sigma. For me, it's all about CI and improving things for the customers. So tactically, in terms of the content, I will work with a lot of the standards that are familiar in the Western countries, which also I know have been then used frequently for the basis in other areas of the world. If you have specific questions, you can always reach me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way to get hold of me at the moment. And so hopefully you'll get a structured approach to this. I will, always recap and you'll have little pausing place where you can go and recap your own thoughts and processes. For those who are really on the beginning of the journey and you're not even sure what is a certification, the reality is above and beyond the training you will have received, you're expected most often to complete 1 or more projects as well as an exam. And then following that, you will have a form of a presentation of the work you carried out that allows you to present all the knowledge, the skills, and some of the desired behaviors that you've developed in the course of your work. And that's the sum of that provides you with a certification. Obviously, there are lots of variation, country to country and company to company. And so obviously we'll need to understand where you're coming from, and I'll give you a path for that. Then I'll go into the principle of presentation, as I mentioned, covering structure, content, format, supporting delivery, how to handle questions, and very importantly, using the pyramid principle of Barbara Minto, how you should structure the actual content of that presentation so it works in and of itself, as well as support your delivery, because that's frequently what you need to do, since a lot of time the presentation has to be sent ahead of the actual assessment. Then the big chunk of the training will go through an example of how you could structure your presentation using, for example, the DMAIC methodology, so that you appreciate what should be presented and how. Again, for guideline, I appreciate a lot of people will have additional guideline maybe from their own organization, and so this is meant to be complementary. I'm not trying to replace. And then in wrap up, we'll talk about the exam and some of the next steps. So if this is for you, and I hope it is, sign up below, use the link to acquire this toolkit. And if you're not quite sure, either request a 30-minute call again using this platform, or reach through LinkedIn and we can have a chat to see what else I can help you with.